A very good evening and welcome to A Date with the Dinner Set, program 281, December the 7th. We are well and truly into December and indeed winter this evening. I hope this finds you well. It is lovely to be back with you live. It's never quite the same, is it, when it's recorded, except for all the people that watch it on catch up anyway. But I was reading back your comments and it seemed that you enjoyed the program. So that's good. I hope you've had a good week. Yes. Hello, Alison. Yes, it was. It was indeed the theme to Z cars. Z cars. Yeah, it'll take some of you back, won't it? 1962 was when that launched, that program. It had some pretty iconic titles going on that looked rather like that, as famous for its Zephyrs and Zodiacs as the content, I think. I was quite surprised that it actually ran for 801 episodes. Quite amazing, really. Ran, I think, for about 15 years. But that actual piece of music was a folk tune called Johnny Todd. And you see, I said it would get the oldies amongst you talking. Is that one of the characters, brother? I'm guessing that's what it is. What are we talking about? Yeah, Johnny Todd. And that very specific arrangement with the sort of flutes and a drone going on was made by this chap, Fritz Spiegel, who was the principal flautist of the Liverpool Philharmonic Orchestra for many years and did a lot of stage and TV scoring. And that was one of his iconic bits of music. Now, until a few hours ago, I didn't know why it was called Z Cars. He just accepted it, and I suppose I thought it was to do with the fact that they used those iconic Ford Zephyrs and Ford Zodiacs. No, not at all. It was a call sign, so rather like A division or B division, it was Z division. So I don't know whether that means they were the 26th worst in the district. I don't really know. But yeah, it's quite interesting. I did actually own the grill of a Ford Zephyr for quite some time. Brother, you might remember that. It sat in the garage at Litchfield Avenue. I can't honestly remember where I got it from. Someone offered it to me and I thought, yeah, it's a nice trinket to hang on the wall, and also I don't know where it went. So that's more interesting. Hello, Janet. How lovely to see you twice in 1 week. Fantastic. So yeah, here we are, live, truly live on A Date with a Dinner Set, program 281. So welcome to all of you in the chat room and all of you listening. I know a lot of you listen in the background, which is nice, and listen on catch up. So a shout out to my friend Jeannie from Claygate, who I know always listens into our merry little program this evening. Quite a mixture. I know I always say it, of music this evening, and some more organ music this evening. I know, I spoil you. So after that opening from Z Cars, we're going to launch into something totally different after I've launched into my coffee, I think. Yes, but where did it go, Mark? Where did it go? I suspect that you had the job of getting rid of it when you cleared out our parents' house. It's very odd, and I could really have been trying hard this week to remember where I got it. Coffee, then music. Do enjoy the programme, and if you're with us live and you want to join in the chat, then please do. Indeed. It was beginning to look a lot like Christmas. And well, it still is, isn't it? And I think that's why as we move through December, very rapidly it always seems, once it gets going, it seemed a way to start, to ease us all in musically, shall we say. I've had quite a few sort of concerts and Christmassy things going on this week. Yes. Now, at the risk of being cynical and commenting on my brother's comment there about the grotto being in full swing since mid-November, I did say to my brother that it seemed very late for those decorations to be going up, Judy. I'm not really sure what was going on there. Anyway, that was its beginning to look a lot like Christmas. And it was composed by this chap, Meredith Wilson, in 1951. And the first person to actually record it was Perry Como. But it was also recorded by Bing Crosby and very famously in the early 2000s by Michael Bublé. And it's one of those songs that has quite a, I don't know, it has a real Christmassy feel to it, doesn't it? And so it seemed appropriate, as I say, to put that one in as a starter this evening. So I'm just looking for, I'm just wondering why this button won't press. Oh, here we go. That's the one. Yeah, so as I say, Perry Como first sang it, first recording in 1951. Actually, also in 1951, in all fairness, Bing Crosby recorded it within a matter of months. That happens so often with things. But I think it sort of reached a whole new audience when Mr. Bublé did his very own special version of it. So, yeah, those two versions are very famous, but even more famous than that, and I want to give a little shout out to my good friend Moore of More Music. At the beginning of the week, he did a really, really nice version of it, beginning to look a lot like Christmas. A really nice jazz arrangement I'd not come across, actually. And that's on his channel, More Music, and I've put a link to it beneath the video. So well done, Moore. It was really fantastic, and it got us all in the mood when you uploaded that on, I think it was Monday morning, wasn't it? 1st of December. Anyway, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas is what that was. That was our opening one this evening, so I hope you enjoyed that one. We'll have a bit more coffee before we go on with the next bit of music. I think those words are in the lyric. And as Jill correctly identified, it's a famous tune. And then Roz identified it was Till There Was You. And Till There Was You came from the 1957 musical The Music Man. Oh, and look who composed it. Meredith Willson. Yes. And that was mainly the reason for putting that one in this evening, actually. Because it couldn't be a more dissimilar song. But Music Man was Meredith Willson's tour de force musical that's had many revivals and indeed film adaptations. And also in Music Man is 76 trombones, famously. But that one was indeed Till There Was You. Now, it's possible that one of the reasons it's so well known as a tune, it's a lovely tune, by the way, it's got some amazing lifts in it, is that the Beatles did a cover of it in 1962. And the story goes that it was introduced to Paul McCartney by his cousin, and he never knew it was from a musical, but thought that's a really good song, you know, for something a bit different for us to do. So that's how their arrangement of Till There Was You came about. A very different arrangement. Paul's got a fantastic vocal on that, and John and George are sort of dueling away on guitars, and Ringo's going all Spanish bolero on the bongos. It's a fascinating cover, and it brought it to a much wider world. In fact, the estate of Meredith Willson, Mrs. Willson, said that they got far more money from the royalties from the Beatles version than they ever did from the original from Music Man. But there you go. That was our second song this evening. As always, if you like what you see and you hear on A Date with a Dinner Set, program 281, by the way, do press the thumbs up button and it will illuminate for you, and that will help our merry channel. Now look, there was another button I forgot to press, so I'm going to press it now, whilst we were thinking a little bit about Christmas and its imminent arrival. So I've mentioned this a few times, but I stopped mentioning one of the things for the reason I have had quite a few requests. So this is what is going to be happening on the channel. We are going to put all your requests. I think I've had 6, but I think actually now 7 today, so we'll have to work hard, on Sunday the 21st. So those of you that have emailed, I will email you back to say, yes, it's going to be there. And then our very special, we do this, don't we? Well, I do, and you listen patiently, every year at 5 o'clock on Christmas Eve, a calming Christmas Eve, where we just have an hour together and I don't say a word. So it's absolutely fantastic. It's just back to back, the quieter side of Christmas. So that's what we're going to be doing on the channel this year. So as I say, those requests I've put on, you can see I've put your requested Christmas season music. The reason for that is they're not all necessarily Christmas pieces, but they are pieces that the people who have requested them associate with Christmas, and that is absolutely fantastic because we all sort of celebrate the month in different ways, I think. So that is coming up, shall we say. More coffee and then more music. Do enjoy. I'm laughing at Hannah's comment literally every time. Oh, Mark, fantastic. You know, I nearly said it. I nearly said at the beginning of the programme, this evening, I will not be playing the Candyman. Yes, it was indeed, as Hannah correctly identified, Sweet Gingerbread Man. Also, Jill said that later. You know, as I say, I'm easing a few Christmassy ones in now, in case we don't get them all in before Christmas, really. Yes, that was composed by Michel Legrand, and he composed it in 1970, originally for the soundtrack of the film The Magic Garden of Stanley Sweetheart. Yeah, I love it as a song. It's not just a kid's song, really. It's got quite an amazing lyric by Marilyn and Alan Bergman, who he worked extensively with. This was during his Hollywood period. And one of the reasons I like that song so much, it is so unlike any other Michel Legrand song. Let's turn that off. I did years ago find a clip, a very dated clip, a black and white clip of him singing that on a TV show with wild hair and dancing around like a fool. It was amazing, but it's gone. I don't know where it's gone. We may find it. It would have helped if you'd waited. You're too quick, Mark. Too quick. You see, if you'd waited. You know, and if you hadn't been drooling so much at that candy floss in the trailer and thought, oh, it's a gingerbread man. I wonder if we're going to have Sweet Gingerbread Man tonight. I don't know. It's just an idea. Yeah. Let's leave him dancing for a minute because I've had this little ginger man thing for a couple of years now, but I managed to slow him down a bit to fit in the tempo of what I was playing because he was a bit hyper. He'd been drinking too many cans of Monster Energy drink or something, Pro Plus. Right, he can go now because you can have too much of a good thing, can't you? Really. Goodbye. Yes. So there we go. On a more serious Christmas theme, the upload this week on Friday was taken from the service I was playing for last Sunday evening at St Andrew's Church in Surbiton, which was their Advent Carol service, and by kind permission of Simon Harvey, the Director of Music, and indeed the Vicar, Robert Stanier, I was able to record our opening hymn and at a very atmospheric Advent service. And it actually took longer to type out all the words of this hymn than it did to do the whole rehearsal and the whole carol service. But there we go. I thought I'd like to share that with you because the choir and congregation were in good form on that Sunday evening for a very atmospheric Advent carol service. So Lo He Comes with Clouds Descending, choir and organ is on the channel. And there is a link beneath it. But don't forget to look at Young Moore's rendition of It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas before you do that. Right. On we go with our next bit of music. We've only had this once on the programme. By the way, everything has to come with a disqualifier now. This is not by Antonio Carlos Jobim. I'm just going to say that. It's not often you see the words jaunty and sedate in the same sentence, is it? I rather like that. I think I might. I relate to that very much. Jaunty and sedate. Yes. And no, Mark, again, sadly, that wasn't Neal Hefti. That was, well, actually, it's got quite a few titles, that piece, depending whether you know it in its original form, its Portuguese form, as Manhã de Carnaval or Carnival Morning. It's also sometimes known as Black Orpheus. And its anglicised version, a totally different lyric, it's known as A Day in the Life of a Fool. And yes, Story of My Life, I know exactly. I thought I'd say it before you did. It came from this film, Black Orpheus, which was from 1959, a pretty groundbreaking French film based on Orpheus and Eurydice, but reset in Rio de Janeiro in Carnival time. I've not seen it. I'd love to see it because it looks an amazing film, and the music is absolutely wonderful. It's a mixture. There's quite a lot of music by Antonio Carlos Jobim in it, but not that one, not the famous song that we just played, because that one was actually composed by this chap, Louis Bonfa, who was quite an amazing guitarist, composer and arranger and writer for many, many films. And yeah, as I say, we know it also in this form. Dear old Frank did it, A Day in the Life of a Fool. And it was also recorded by Jack Jones as well as many others. I looked down the list. There's been about 200 covers of that, actually. It's a really, really nice tune. And in fact, it was, I think it's generally accepted that one was the first bossa nova to reach the world globally, because it was in a film. So it sort of took the bossa nova out of Brazil in its very early days, and anybody who'd seen that film around the world was introduced to this new style of music, and that was the first one. So I call it Black Orpheus. I also call it A Day in the Life of a Fool. It's Carnival Morning. It's a nice bossa nova, and it's from 1959, so I hope you enjoyed that one. If you have happened upon this and you don't know what it is a date. I have to think what it is then. It's a bit sad, isn't it? After 5.5 years and 281 programs, dear idea. It's Gigi the Piano Man is the channel, and this program is a date within a set program 281. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, we would love to have you as part of our YouTube community. Do press the subscribe button, and if you want to know when things happen, such as the uploads on a Friday or this live stream, or indeed the special extra Christmas live stream on Christmas Eve at 5 o'clock, then do press the notifications button. And the magic of the internet will help you to find us in that way. I'm still liking Miss Jaunty and sedate. I'm very much like I'm sort of leaning more towards the sedate at the moment. Where's my water? Hang on. Yes, so as we said at the start of the programme, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, and indeed the poinsettia is on the piano. Now look, I would love to say that this is last year's poinsettia. That would not be strictly true. Well, it wouldn't be at all true, actually. Well, it's in the same pot. That's all I can say. But I did manage to keep that poinsettia alive until actually middle of August. It finally got by the heat. I think it must have sort of built heat. I did try and protect it over the summer, and it had new leaves and everything. I thought, yeah, we're going to be able to launch this in December again. But no, at the end of August, it said, you know what, I'm just can't be bothered with this anymore, and it sort of keeled over and became compost. So that is No, I was not quick enough, Alison. You know, it was one minute it was alive, the next day it wasn't really. It was a twig. I did poke around. I poked around in the compost to look for any signs of life in the roots. But the fact that when I poked around, the thing sort of fell out as this dead twiglet. I thought it was time to sort of admit defeat on that one. But I was quite impressed. It lasted till August. Let's see what happens to this one. Anyway, enough of that, and on with the next bit of music. Who's an odd couple? I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying now. That was indeed the iconic theme music. It was nominated for multiple awards to The Odd Couple from 1965. Very famous film, and it spawned a TV series, of course. That music is as famous as the film itself. Fantastic bit of music by, wait for it, brother. Yes, Neal Hefti, and there he is, Mr. Smiley Neal, often known as the soundtrack, Mr. Soundtrack of New York. Something very special about Neal's music. He was for many years a trumpeter and then an arranger for the Count Basie band, and then also a huge composer and arranger of film music in his own right. That's what that was, The Odd Couple from 1965. Yes, there is Neal. You knew he was there somewhere, lurking in the background, and indeed lurking in the background of our trailer this evening. Today, December the 7th, is National Cotton Candy Day, or Candy Floss Day, depending which side of the Atlantic you find yourself on. And why did I pick that one? I did have a choice of things we could celebrate today. I picked it because it was colourful, but it sort of, rather sort of toothacheing, really, isn't it? Yeah, but that is today, National Cotton Candy Day, and it was apparently invented in time for the 1904 World's Fair. And the strange combination of an engineer and a dentist, it's a bit ironic really, isn't it, invented candy floss, which does have its roots earlier, many years, when you think how it's actually created, because it is the heating of the sugar that liquefies and then in a conventional candy floss machine centrifugally pulled out and spun into that cloud-like mess that is all over the machine and everywhere. Can you smell it? I can always smell it when I see it. It's the sort of thing I do associate with fairgrounds and things, and the whole stickiness of it, And brother, you will remember we pestered, us three elder boys, pestered our father for candy floss, but we always had to have it in a bag. For some reason, father would never let us walk along the street with a stick, poking it in each other's eyes and things. Yes. We bought one of those small machines as well, and it went in the bin after one use for various reasons, shall we say. Let's say a tantrum was also involved. I'm not going to say which member of my family, whether it was myself or my dear ex or one of our two. One of us had a tantrum, and right in the bin is where it went. Anyway, Cotton Candy Day is what today is, December the 7th. We need to launch into our final bit of music. Do enjoy this one. Yeah, the piece was called Coronation SCOT, written by Vivian Ellis, he who composed Spread a Little Happiness, amongst many other things. And it was written in honour of the LMS Coronation class locomotives that were built and started running in 1937. Quite amazing locos. Would love to have seen those. Absolutely fantastic. Anyway, I thought you'd like a little taste of what that concert was a few weeks. If you weren't there, I know a couple of you were there. That does bring us to the end of A Date with a Dinner Set, programme 281 here on National Cotton Candy Day, December the 7th. I do hope that you have a very good week that is to come. Do stay well. There are a lot of nasty little bugs around, and we don't want those, do we? This side of Christmas, well, we don't want them at all. I look forward to the great pleasure of playing for you again live next Sunday, the 14th of December, when there will only be 11 sleeps until Christmas. Thank you so much for listening and for being with us this evening. Do take very good care of yourselves, and good night.